A lot of dudes in corrections got supplements. Like a lot of dudes, Claus, what's up, gang? A lot of dudes in corrections got supplements. Like they got family members, they got welfare. We gonna be talking about tonight. We gonna get to a lot of stuff. I might even get y'all some Fortnite later on. Depends on how things is going, right? But we got some shit we gotta get to. It's gonna be real. This probably could hurt feelings. But I always tell people your feelings don't matter. If you like, yo, boo, what you mean your feelings don't matter? You go ahead and ask me in the chat, and I guarantee you I'll make it make sense for you, and you'll be like, okay. But that's a part of humans sometimes. When you reach your highest level of humans, when you reach your highest level of being a good person, a good human, feelings don't matter. You will realize that. Because you can't juggle, life and be fair with that, right? Yeah. The guy who kidnaps and unalives and takes advantage of the young kid, he got feelings. And we don't want him going in front of the judge like, hey, judge, man, I was just having a feeling. I think like this. And he'd be like, well, man, you got to do sometime. Let's just give you 3 years here. I mean, he might have done snatched and unalived 8 kids. Feelings can't always matter. You know how most of the time when somebody use how they feel with you, they using it to get out of doing, like, it's like when they done did some shit and now they going to how they feeling. Yo, how you feel could be deep. While you cheating on your girl, abusing your girl, wilding on your girl, and you just like, yo, I just feel like when I was younger, I wasn't getting love, and, I just feel like disrespected or played or taken, like, whatever, however you feel, don't necessarily mean that we should all go along with how you feel. It's not all right, right? But before I just clicked over, man, I was talking about, but we go, like, hey, man, y'all know who this dude is? All right. This is exposing harsh economics behind why poor people remain poor. If you got a feeling of why you think poor people remain poor, put it in the chat. Let me know. But let's try to get to the bottom of why, with all the things we want, with all the passions, right, with all the drives, with all the talk, with all the complaining, generation after generation after generation be poor. It gets so bad that even if one person from these communities make it out of there, everybody in their family will try to pull them down and make them poorer. If he go along with it, he just end up back poor again. Nobody else make it out of there. No generational wealth, generational mental health.
The question of why the poor stay poor has been debated for centuries, but the debate has been dominated more by good intentions than by good analysis. Too often we approach this issue with our hearts rather than our minds, with our emotions rather than our...
Y'all heard what he said? What you said, Claus? Oh, jealousy is definitely a big part of it. But believe it or not, yo, you know what's crazy, man? Yo, we could go deep on the jealousy part, right, Claus? Because sometimes jealousy don't give you ambition. Jealousy don't give you drive. Some people just jealous. They just jealous and hateful. They call those people takers sometimes. They don't want to create. They want to take. And let me tell you something. You can take, but in order for you to get away with taking and win from taking, you also have to create. That's a fact, gang. You also have to create. And yo, bro, listen, we could really get into jealousy and how jealousy could set us back sometimes. That's a fact. That is a fact. We can get into jealousy and how jealousy could set us back. But you think what Son said, right? He said, a lot of times we not thinking of it like from an intelligence, we thinking of it like what we would say with our hearts, right? Or with the feelings, like with emotions. And most times, if you talk to people that is in poverty, right? If you talk to people that's poor, they going off emotions because they don't have information. When you don't have information, you go off emotions. How you feel. But we've been living in a great country for a long time. So a whole lot of the reasons why motherfuckers is poor and the next generation ain't finished got to do with them.
Intellect. We want to believe that poverty is simply a matter of bad luck or unfair circumstances because that view makes the solution seem straightforward. Just provide more money, more programs, more government assistance. But the evidence tells a different story. The evidence suggests that the reasons why the poor stay poor are far more complex and far more resistant to the kinds of solutions that make us feel good about ourselves. The harsh reality is that poverty persists not despite our well-intentioned efforts to eliminate it, but often because of them. Let me begin with a fundamental observation that may seem counterintuitive to many people. Poverty is not primarily about money. Yes, poor people lack money, but that is a symptom, not a cause. If poverty were simply about money, then the massive transfer of wealth from the middle class to the poor through government programs over the past half century would have eliminated poverty by now.
So check it. They done tried to help alleviate the situation in multiple different ways if you get into it. A lot has been taken away from middle class people and given to poor people, and what happens? Y'all ever see all the poor folks when they get their tax money? What happened? They get close to that taxes again and they waiting on it again. They swear they gonna change their lives. How about when poor people hit the lottery? They gave you $60 million. You probably been running around saying if you just had a job that paid you $100,000 a year. If somebody just gave you $500,000, you would do this. But you done cost $60 million. And 6 years later, you living back in the hood in the trailer park or just an apartment adjacent from the hood. But I thought that if somebody gave you something, I thought that like if you got an opportunity, if somebody looked out for you, it'd be all right. What the fuck happened? And that happens over and over again. If you give somebody poor money, they ain't gonna do shit but waste it. Because being poor ain't got shit to do with the position that you born in. It got to do with your mentality. Now, when you couple the mentalities, because you could have been born in a position and you were ambitious and you want to do something, but you surrounded by poor, impoverished mentalities. I told somebody the other day, I said, hey, only two people I know what business is I was talking about. I said, it's me and you. My business, very little. If I had the support and the people, who knows, right? And maybe that don't necessarily directly come from the stream right away. Maybe it's the people around me that see me with the vision, see me being ambitious, see me doing things that nobody else that they ever seen done. See me building and just pull up like, yo, what you need me to do? But you know what the poor mentality do? The poor mentality do what the poor mentality do when they get to $60 million. I'm going to do what I've been doing. So that's something I've been looking at lately. How fast do you go back to doing what you've been doing when shit is okay? When you stressed and everything going crazy? When you get comfortable, how fast do you go back to being comfortable? When you've been buying everything up, when you've been spending all your money and you get broke and then you get out that situation, how fast you gonna go back to spending all your money up on that same shit? How much studying you gonna do? How much of your algorithm is you gonna change? How much of the people around you is you gonna flip-flop and maneuver around? That shit is important.
Instead, we have spent trillions of dollars on anti-poverty programs, yet poverty rates have remained stubbornly high.
Grammarly helps me get the best grades possible while depleting the least amount of hours of my week.
This tells us something important. Money alone cannot solve poverty.
I believe you,
The
bro.
reasons why people become poor and stay poor go much deeper than their bank account balance. They involve patterns of behavior, cultural attitudes, family structures, and personal choices that determine whether people will be able to generate income and accumulate wealth over time. Understanding this requires us to think about poverty differently than most people do. Instead of viewing poverty as a condition that befalls people through no fault of their own, we need to examine it as a way of life that involves specific behaviors, attitudes, and decisions. This is not to say that poor people are morally
Specific
inferior or
behaviors,
that they deserve their fate.
attitudes,
Rather,
and
it
opinions.
is to
This is not to say that poor people are like morally like, look, bro, this is deep if you really pay attention to it. And then after this, we gonna get to my boy, you know, he used to work for Vice, and he got a whole joint on the welfare system. Cause, and me and Matt Kid talked about that, and there's been times we done went through it. And I will get in depth and look into shit, and a lot of the things that we blame the government for, it's just from a lack of information. And right now, with everything going on with healthcare and Medicaid and what might be happening with the housing system and food stamps, I think we need to get into that.
We recognize that poverty often involves patterns of behavior that make it difficult for people to advance their circumstances. What are these patterns? Let me outline several key factors that research has consistently identified as contributing to the persistence of poverty across generations. These factors interact with each other in complex ways, creating what social scientists call a poverty trap that makes it extremely difficult for people to improve their economic circumstances.
We work on that hard.
First
Look,
and perhaps most important
I was also talking about that before I got on as well. Talking about like, because I've been through it with the, like, look, this is what I realized. The day that it happens, it probably crashed my life right away because I'm human. So I'm going to know how much time I spent sitting in here, setting up, doing everything, editing. I'm going to be aware of that. And there's going to be shitloads of people that feel like, hey, nigga, we did it. And I'm going to be like, I don't know how much of we, but I'm a fair guy. So I'm going to let whatever your task or your main goal was, I'm going to try to put you in the best position for that. But if I win, that don't mean that everybody went. Like, yo, I asked Deuce one time, I'm like, yo, Deuce, if I got rich, you think she's like, nah, you going to give it away. But not give it away, right? Because I want to give opportunities to people like me. So it could be a close family member. It could be anybody. And they might feel like they deserve the opportunity. But this is what I mean about poor thinking, right? Your family member, you don't watch them. Somebody close to you, you know what they do. They want to get fly. They just want money to spend. They don't want to work hard for it. So if you put that person in position, you set your community back. Because they're not going to build a business. I understand why people get... I've been in that conversation with Matt Kid a bunch of times. We argued over that, right? Like, you know how like a lot of people talk about when the government bails someone out, right? A bank or this company. Bro, if they shut that down and put you in place, are you going to build up a $1 billion corporation and hire 100,000 people? No. Are you going to be able to say no to the people that don't deserve the opportunity? Probably not. Because you ain't been focused on how to do that. If your mind can't get off sex, well, girl, I don't need to give you no money. Sex is important to you. Let's promote you on OnlyFans. If you think you deserve money because you got a pussy, there are plenty of women out here getting money because they because they got a pussy. You know what they call it? They call it slinging that thing.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy.
Because it's about maximizing your potential. You got to look and see where a person's potential. Okay, well, all right, man. Look, I see where your potential. I see where it lies. Ain't no jobs for shoppers. Like, you can't save money by spending money. The last time I got some head, I'm not really a head every sexual encounter dude. I'll be totally honest with y'all. I'm pretty sure Mad Kid can hear every word I'm saying now. I'm no longer a sexual being. I mastered my lower desires. I don't know if you believe me or not, Claus, but I did, bro. Like, and I can't have sex in turmoil. So if me and my lady is at it, I can't get hard. I can't. Like, this is why I don't believe it's a such thing as good coochie. Because if it was, then black men would be eradicated. Because you would never get to have a girlfriend. Every time you try to get a new girlfriend, you get killed over it because it's so good. Every single female will be dealing with every dude they ever dealt with. But you know how you think cheesecake good? Because you find a new dessert. Do you stop eating cheesecake? No, you eat cheesecake till it's over. If you like the color blue, you don't stop liking the color blue because you see something black that you like. So, this is real talk. You ever been in a relationship and you love somebody and you broke up with them before, Claus? I'm pretty sure, right? What ended that? You ain't think about the pussy. You like, I don't need no pussy. You don't want the pussy, girl. Don't bring that shit nowhere near me, girl. Because y'all not vibing. So what makes a chick coochie fire is if y'all vibing. The more y'all vibing, the more in tune y'all is, the better things are. You know when you have a good time with your lady, especially if y'all have been through roller coaster, y'all have a good time, you be probably craving. It make you feel better. We barely use the term making love, right? Anymore. We don't use that. We do fucking and shit, and that's a big problem. Like, I want to make love to my woman. When your mind right, the sex better anyway. When your mind right, you want to please her more. When you just want to fuck, you kind of worry about yourself.
Factor is family structure.
Family structure.
The evidence is overwhelming that children raised in single-parent households are far more likely to experience poverty than children raised in two-parent households. This is not a moral...
I want to make it to watch this with me, right? So we talk about Deuce a lot. Y'all seen what Deuce... But Deuce is in Nepal right now. And, man, Deuce did something... Bro, Deuce is amazing, right? But they say one of the reasons why you might end up poor fucking around is single parent households. So you look around and you see, okay, we're single parent households. How about look? Pay attention.
Judgment about single parents, many of whom work heroically to provide for their children.
Work heroically.
It's simply a recognition of economic reality. Two adults can generally earn more money than one adult, and they can share the responsibilities of child rearing in ways that allow both to work and earn income. The statistics on this point are stark. In the year 2019, the poverty rate for married couple families was 4.7%. For families headed by single mothers, it was 22.2%. For families headed by single fathers, it was 11.1%.
And look, for black women, we gotta step it up, right? Single parent households with fathers just do better than single parent households with black mothers. I can tell you why. And guess what? No, women are not more emotional than men. Whoever told you that was a lie. They got science and all type of shit to give you the answers you want. Don't listen to your fucking grandmother. You don't do anything like them at all. Your grandmother ain't have enough spices anyway to put together a good meal. We got new spices, we got spices she ain't never heard of.
Tell me, good. Peanut butter jelly, good. Peanut butter jelly. There she go, the lady of my dreams.
Yeah, we got new shit we can put on peanut butter and jelly, Grandma. Sit your ass down. You ain't established nothing. You too, Grandpa. Y'all ain't lead nigga shit. Y'all was too big. I'm fucking around with y'all.
Differences persist even when we control for other factors such as education. The impact of family structure goes beyond immediate economic circumstances. Children from single-parent households are more likely to drop out of school, more likely to have children out of wedlock themselves, more likely to be involved in criminal activity, and less likely to develop the skills and attitudes that lead to economic success.
Thank you, New York State Department of Corrections. Because without y'all, there would be no me. Sadly.